Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ibrahim Toure. I'm your East 15 president. So I represent all students at the Loughton and South End campus. Today, I've just called everybody together because there's a massive, massive issue that's happening in and around East 15 and in and around our society, and that is violence against women and sexism against women. I have been told, and I have educated myself further on using the term sexism, because we want to make sure that this issue is held with the importance that it is, rather than downplaying it with the word sexism for everybody. I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that. So apologies to anybody that felt that I used the word incorrectly. I'm here to learn, I'm here to listen. So today, Isabel Jacobs is going to host most of the meeting. She's our women's officer. She's doing a great job in working with women, creating a women's network, which I highly encourage all women to try and participate in, which you can email her and she'll send you the information for that. It's a great network to just connect with other women on campus, in and around the school, and as well as that South End students as well. So what's the aim of tonight? The aim of tonight for the men, and I can speak for us as I am a man, the first thing is that we need to listen. I keep using this word listen. We've been made with 2 ears and 1 mouth. So it's really important that we take the time to listen to the issues, to understand the issues and understand how we can do better. This is the main thing for me, how we can do better. We all know women in our lives. We all work with women, and it's important that they feel safe in our campus and they feel safe within our society. And I will be doing the work, and I want you guys to do the work. For the women in the group, sorry, I'm just admitting people into the meeting. For the women in the group, it's a chance to hear other women, to connect with these other women, and also to take the space and reclaim the space, and be heard properly. So once again, as I say, thank you for attending, and let's get started. Passing over to Isabel, and let's get started. Yeah.
Hi everyone, thank you so much again, as Ibrahim said, for being here. I'm going to pass straight over to Charlotte, who did an amazing job with her classmates of organising the vigil on Friday night. So we're just going to hear from her. Over to you, Charlotte.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name's Charlotte. I'm on the MA acting course. As Isabel said, I organised the vigil for Sarah Everard on Friday evening. It was a vigil to pay our respects to a woman who'd been murdered on the street when she was just trying to walk home. A vigil to remember the many women attacked every single day by men. A vigil that the school unfortunately chose not to support. The vigil was beautiful. We all wore masks, kept our distance, and stood outside. We did everything right. 35 people came and listened to our stories, bravely shared their own, and stood in silence as we turned our thoughts to the women who have lost their lives at the hands of men. At the end, there was a stunned silence. The men who attended were visibly shocked, but the women weren't. We know what it means to be a woman, and it's exhausting. We then witnessed over the weekend women further brutalized by police, the very people who are supposed to be keeping us safe. I am one of the 97% of women who have been sexually harassed. I have been groped, grabbed, ogled, shouted at, sexually assaulted, slut-shamed, followed, raped, and have feared for my life more than any person should. But that's just a regular Monday. You see, these things are just part of a woman's day. You say phone, keys, wallet before you leave your house. I say phone with my mum on speed dial, keys clenched in my fist, and rape alarm in my pocket. And that needs to change. We all have a role to play. White women like myself need to raise the voices of women more vulnerable than us. Women of colour whose suffering is often ignored by the media, trans women who face violence every single day, and female sex workers who deserve to be safe. Men need to stop saying not all men, and to stand up and take a look around, to educate themselves and pull up their brothers, fathers, friends when they make rape jokes or put their hands up our skirts and shout at us out their car windows. It's not funny, it's scary, and it's degrading. As a school, to make women feel safe and supported rather than forgotten and ignored. And finally, as people going into the industry, we have a duty to stand up to misogyny and abuse, making it a safer and more equal place for all, and to make work that lifts up marginalized voices and puts these issues at the forefront. This change starts with us all, and it starts now. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'd like to hear from Marianne now.
Hi guys, I'm Marianne. I'm on the Acting and Stage Combat course in the 3rd year, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about like the Southend campus and sometimes the limitations of what we have of not being the bigger campus. So it sometimes feels like that we don't have like the same amount of unions, say other people have, or the same amount of groups or clubs. So in my 1st year, we had an incident with one of our classmates, and eventually it was all sorted out and that person's no longer in our course. But when it happened, rightfully so, some of the teachers were like, well, why didn't you come and report it? You should have come sooner. But I personally didn't know where to go. I personally didn't know who to go to or where the information was. So I'd just like to raise the point that we should try and, when it's the introductory sessions, when it's the first day back of uni, if we can get more times to say, this is where you should go for this is where you should go for that. Because as much as we don't want to have these conversations and we don't want to have to do these, we have to because of the world we're currently living in. So if we can get more support and just a reminder that there are people there and where they are and where to go to, because I know personally, sometimes it feels like, maybe I shouldn't say something because I've had to fight my way to get on the course. Should I make a fuss? But you need to remind yourself that actually, yes, make a fuss, make a stand, tell one person, tell 2 people, tell the teacher, tell whoever you need to tell for it to then get sorted. Because in our case, it eventually did get sorted, but it could have been done a lot sooner. But yes, that's what I just wanted to say, that I feel like the Southend campus might need a little bit more of a voice and a little bit of more to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I'd now like to pass to Faye, who's the Black officer at the Loughton campus.
Hey y'all, I'm Faye Way. I'm the Loughton Black officer, and I'm in the MA MFA international program. Sadly, we're gathered tonight because of a heinous crime that took place recently. And unfortunately, us women know all too well about male violence against women. I think it's great to see that all these discussions are now being brought up about why women can't do certain basic things safely and why women can't fully feel safe around men, including men they know in general. From my standpoint, however, this discourse is a bit taxing. As a Black woman throughout my life, I've seen and heard of countless crimes committed against women, especially against Black women and trans women. And I've realized something. It's not our job to stop this from happening. The work needs to be done by men. We live in a patriarchal society that thrives off rape culture, so much so that even when a crime is committed against a woman, it's framed as if it's her fault, such as what she was wearing, or even news articles where they make it seem as if the victim was asking for their agency to be disregarded. Most of the time, even when a woman is assaulted, 9 times out of 10, she won't call the cops because there are so many instances in which they did and were assaulted even further. And unfortunately, things like this will continue to occur unless society, the government, and men decide to unlearn the demeaning ways in which they relate to all women. So that being said, men, it's on y'all. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. I'm going to pass straight over to Anne Morgan.
Hi, everyone. Like many of you, I've been feeling a lot of emotions these last few days, ranging from disappointed to disgusted, from mournful to motivated. But overall, I felt this general feeling of defeat, of really, again, I can't keep doing this. Because even if it's not plastered on social media or in headlines, it's still happening all around us. It's a late night conversation you wish you weren't having with your mom, or it's in a scene you're rehearsing, or it's in a text message from your best friend who just left home for the first time. It's watching another white man in a position of power with more allegations than I can keep track. Sarah's story has resonated in different ways for everyone. It reminds us of all the stories not being told, like Blessing Olusegun, whose story went more than a year before being shared. Women of color, trans women, non-binary people, their stories are almost never told, and it is so important to remember them and their families during this time. And beyond that, going out of our way to learn their stories and honor them and educating ourselves on why their stories aren't being shared. Sarah's name has become synonymous with this movement. I think it's important that we remember her for how much of a human being she was. She had just started a new job. She had a boyfriend and friends. She had a mom and a dad and 2 older sisters. She was a person who had real fears and real emotions and real thoughts running through her head up until the moment she was killed. She wasn't much older than me, the same age as some of you. She didn't live very far away from us. Every life lost is tragic, but this is personal. I keep reminding myself that it's okay not to be okay right now. It's understandable that I have a panic attack every time I walk down the street. It's normal that I would get triggered from watching yet another show with an unnecessary assault in it. And it's reasonable that I carry some form of self-defense with me at all times. But of course, it's too aggressive when I call someone out for being sexist. It's disrespectful when I don't smile back. It's an exaggeration when I say all men scare me. We're all playing the same game, but there seem to be different rules. We know that most men out there won't rape us, won't kill us, won't punch us. And those that do, we know they're monsters. But what we seem to not recognize is, in the first place, how this hatred for women surfaces in the form of violence. We haven't made the connections that as a society, we have normalized the harassment of women and internalized misogyny so much that most of the time it goes completely unnoticed and unchecked. We live in a patriarchal society. Our day-to-day life is shaped in this culture. I am sick of this narrative of not all men, because it's not even true. We all, myself included, have made sexist jokes, have cut off a woman from speaking, have judged a woman based on her dating history or sexual habits. We see this behavior as harmless, but where else do these violent thoughts about women begin? We all have to do better, and we all have to start paying attention and calling each other out. Because when I call you out for calling me crazy, it's not because I like being correct or because I want to be better than you. It's because I want you to know the effect you have so you don't do it to someone else. And if I don't call you out, how are you ever going to learn? You're clearly not going out of your way to educate yourself about microaggressions or violence against women yourself. It starts with education. It starts with making an effort. It starts with listening to women. Actually listening to women. So start. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. We'll now hear from Hannah, who's the Black officer at Southend campus.
Hi everyone. I'm going to try my hardest not to repeat anything that's already been said. But I wanted to talk about some of the things that might happen in class that men often do and not realize that they do, that contributes to, the silencing of women. And the first thing is literally just don't talk over women. I can't even count the amount of times that's happened in the 3 years that I've been here. Just wait until it's your time to speak. And it might not seem that big of a deal, but it actually is. And secondly, some of the language that is used to describe women, such as being emotional, hysterical, aggressive, assertive, when they're literally just trying to get a point across again, is not cool. And it happens often. Stop over-sexualizing women as well. We're all sexual beings, but we're not sexual objects, and we're not there for you. And with that being said, it's imperative to ask before you touch someone, even if it is an acting scene.
Thank you so much, Hannah. We're now going to hear from Lo.
Hi, I'm Lo. I'm the Student Community Officer for People of Color. I am a genderqueer person, and at the same time, I have been male presenting for 23 years of my life. So that doesn't exclude me from any of these conversations towards men, or that doesn't mean I don't have internalized misogyny at all. And for that reason, I think for me, it's about uplifting the voices of other women and female identifying people. And so I'm gonna read a poem by one of my favorite poets, Ntozake Shange. This is a poem called 5. Her dreams came true and passed. All dreams do. And she was just a young thing with nothing left to sleep on. Tomorrow imagined, just come and gone. The horn player OD'd, the dancer was gay. Her earrings, looping her shoulders, irregular was commonplace. She dreamt a woman was a tree, asymmetrical dangling, uneven motion in the night musk. Women's and oceans repeat symbolically, never in fact. And her dreams had passed. The pieces were finished. Love happened. Applause, cheers, bows, encored themselves. It was all over. And she was just a young thing with nothing left to conjure, her magic spent on small feats, little things, a poem here and there, an arm, some woman bursting and fleece spun, academic recognition and power of the spirit, other people's spirits, made her want to bring them dreams. Whoever you want to be, take it in yourself and rock, rock, rock your own baby. She was loved because she freed somebody else from the dark, gave him a yellow rose, all for the dream, and hers had passed, dead like anybody knows. Albert Eiler is dead, the lady is dead, and Bessie, her living melody killing itself on Avenue C, nothing left to get up and dance about. Songs were timed, ended on a cue from a selfish spirit roaming in the rain. That's enough. That's enough. Dreams are too possible for real. She didn't want to, but the fullness of her womb in her fingers to be life, girded with feathers and silver, masked in orange and apricot smells. She dreamed like a wild thing. And for a minute, just a minute, she'd know words, brown legs, music and cloth, and lies, fists, chaos and shreds of dreams, to be wrapped in shreds of dreams, to cuddle herself, a wild creature in dangers of her own making. What'll a horn do for you now? How much coke you'd use? Is there any photo of yourself that hasn't turned to stone? Dream dreams, wish wishes, live a life worth reckoning. Living dreams will make you crazy. Living dreams will lead you to the ends of yourself. And her dreams had passed. The independista went to jail. The potter was impotent. Her poems gathered dust Audiences craved how she made them. No, another place where they too could saunter unafraid. But the cats died, the parakeet flew off, the car broke down, and Femel was dirty, and the dreams passed. She was left to sleep on scraps of other times. She has only wished for little things, jeweled boxes and rainbows, bold men with tenderness and cruelty, like she was always living dreams, making something into nothing but a vision. And she loved these things. Her plants, the rocking chair, any street in San Francisco when the fog came in, how the sun picked her up each morning. She woke up in heat to not a thing she knew, not a dream she could maneuver, not a glimpse of what she had in store for herself. She had known dream too intimately for the relationship to continue. She was what a dream was. Nothing made into something. Breath and blood became a vision. Dream dressed up in crepe, went out on the town. She went on in her life like she tried not to imagine. Her dreams had passed, as all dreams do, couched round her eyes. Thanks.
We're now going to have a minute's silence to remember all of those who've lost their lives to street violence. Okay. We're now going to hear a few words from the SU president, Molly.
Thank you. My voice may shake through this, but I am a survivor. Women across the UK are hurting after the news of Sarah Everard, a bright young woman full of dreams and potential. That could have easily been me or any of us. Violence and sexual harassment against women has always been prevalent in society, but the tragic events of the past week have sent chills down everyone's spine. How are women supposed to trust the police and those in authority when they are nothing but aggressors themselves? I've been at the hands of the failings of institutional oppression. In my final year of uni, happy and carefree, I met someone who ended up abusing and manipulating me for several months until I found the courage to cut him out of my life. Turns out he was a known aggressor to the university. If correct action had been taken, I would not have been put through that trauma, which I'm still dealing with today, which resulted in my diagnosis of panic disorder. There are many scopes of violence against women, from street harassment to domestic abuse, all boiling down to the patriarchal system that upholds this, with minority women being disproportionately affected. 97% of young women have been sexually harassed in their lifetime. This has to stop. I'm a part of that statistic. I've been followed home before. I've been catcalled. I've been emotionally manipulated. I've been objectified for my body. I've been groped unconsensually. I've been raped. Some of these memories have happened from the age of 14. Women are constantly told to protect themselves, to cover up, to hold your keys as a weapon, to never walk alone, to not get a taxi in case the driver is a creep, to not drink, to never let go of your drink, to stay inside. Why is the responsibility down to us? Men, I now speak directly to you. We need you to be better allies. Call out your friends on misogynistic behaviour. Use your male privilege to make sure the women in your life are safe. Listen to women's stories and elevate our voices. Help us unpick the patriarchy. Because not all men, but certainly all women. Simone de Beauvoir wrote in 1949, there are also many men who never accept this division between flesh and consciousness. And I can't believe that is still prevalent in 2021. Within my capacity of my role as your SU president, I will make sure this doesn't go silent. Systemic change is needed, and we need to hold our own organisation and the university to account. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. I hope you'll all join me in thanking everyone who's taken the time to speak to us today. If you've got your cameras off, maybe use those Zoom emojis. Let's make everyone feel super appreciated, because obviously it's a big deal to have to speak to, I think, like over 100 people. So yeah, show your appreciation. Yeah, it's been really moving, eye-opening, humbling, and mostly I think this Zoom has shown us that when we need to, we can come together as a community and listen to the different voices and perspectives that surround us. The people that have spoken tonight, it was a small minority of the brave and powerful people that are around us at East 15, but it does give me more hope that things are happening and change is definitely possible at East 15. After a very scary week following the tragic loss of Sarah Everard, it's even more important than ever that the students of East 15 who are affected by misogyny and gender-based violence feel safe and cared for by the rest of the community. So this means in and out of class. It means when talking to teachers, when talking to friends. It means on campus and on the way home from campus, on social media, when texting your friends, when texting your loved ones. There are so many situations in which women feel uncomfortable or somehow violated. Often we can't put our finger on that, but enough is enough. We've had enough of having to cross the street, having to fake a phone call, having to hold our keys between our fingers, just in case the worst happens. Not wearing headphones, not getting drunk, not going out at all. It's clearly not working, and honestly, it shouldn't have to work. There's some really easy things that those who don't experience these things can do. You can cross the road to ensure a woman doesn't think they're being followed. You can check in with us, make sure we have a safe way home. You can actively avoid that eye contact and staring just to reassure us that you're going about your business. But most importantly, as so many people have said already, men need to start listening, really listening, and recognizing that the UK is not as fun for women as we might think it is. Listen to what we're saying, note it, and then become a true ally. This will only happen if you understand the complexity of the different experiences women are going through, so you can do some of the work for them. We must not forget also that as horrific as Sarah Everard's case is, there are some aspects of her identity and her story which make it way more appealing for the media outlets, Twitter, Instagram, and more palatable for us to speak about. So let's not fall into the trap of saying how unbelievable it is that she did all the right things. It doesn't matter that she took a safe route or wore the right clothing. There's no right way to be kidnapped or murdered. And we at East 15 have to ensure we stop putting the onus onto women themselves. It's time for men to take responsibility for themselves and those around them, so we can make our community one that we feel proud to be part of. And secondly, let's remember to look out for the Black women around us too, and the trans women and the trans femmes, all the people who experience misogyny differently as they walk through the world. Let's ensure we honour Sarah Everard, but also remember every woman that's come before and every woman who fears every day that they might be next. And finally, before I leave you all to your evenings, something that the events of Saturday night in Clapham have reminded me is that violence on the street isn't happening just on an individual level. Time and time again, the UK government and the police force show us that state violence is alive and breathing. They don't protect us. So we need our peers to step up. We need you to protect us. We need everyone to protect each other. So let's make East 15 one of the rare institutions where people do feel safe and where we can all walk around freely without our bodies being violated. This school is the people that are part of it. So let's go away from tonight knowing that if we want to see change, we need to embody and act on it ourselves. So thank you so much for coming. If you need any support with anything discussed tonight, contact me on my email address in the chat, contact the SU Advice Service or any of your officers relevant to you. Yeah, have a really nice night.